Good evening, sisters and brothers. I'm trying to get this glare out of your vision, and hopefully it's no longer there. Well, thank you for tuning Black in to the Melanin Report 360, the Melanin Report 360, the Melanin Report 360. I am your hostess, and that is Deanne, coming at you live from the Valley of the Sun. So hopefully, you all had a wonderful, safe weekend. I did too. I wasn't on yesterday because my brother hosted a Super Bowl party on Zoom. And so I participated in that, and that took most of the evening into the night. So I apologize for not coming at you yesterday, but I'm coming back today, obviously. And I just want to say greetings again to you. So let's get to it and get into a couple of things. So let's read our fair use disclaimer, and that is fair use copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. So nonprofit, edu- nonprofit educational or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. All right, so let's get into it. I just want to remind you of my book, The Melanin Diet. Book we talked about last week, Two Nations, Black, White, Separate, Hostile, Unequal, Andrew Hacker. And at Andrew's book, I think he passed on, and it's really a reference guide in case you're dreaming, this is a go-to for interpretation. All right. So, yeah, I had a wonderful weekend. We watched the what was supposed to be a Super Bowl. I don't know what that was. It was probably rigged. I don't even like to use that language, but I couldn't believe that Kansas City Chiefs never scored a touchdown. One? So I don't know. I'm not. Um, I don't know. Anyway, so we had sharing of family and friends, and so that made it extra special. And so that was the reason for my absence. So I'm back, and I just wanted to go over a couple of things. We've been talking about the COVID-19 and touched on it a little bit last week. And some, events happened over the weekend that made me pause in my spirit and my heart because I believe there have been so many people that haven't felt anything, nothing but, okay, I got the shot and off to the races and back to life, and, nothing aggressive has happened to them. But I think the last report I read was 45 people that took the first shot did not live to get the second shot. And that includes Hank Aaron, allegedly. I'm going to say allegedly because I don't know. I haven't read the report. But I want us to really be mindful of everything that's going on in our environment right now. I've still been going to LA Fitness and wearing my mask, wiping everything down, definitely my treadmill and that kind of thing. And we are, maybe going in about every other day and staying about hour and a half. So I'm not in there like, 2, 3 hours. I get back home, wash my hands, and let that be that. But clearly, um, we have certain people that have immune system compromise and or diabetes and or heart disease and or fill in the blank. So we have, unfortunately, a high percentage, higher than average percentage of some of these conditions, including heart disease and also obesity. And some of us are diabetic. So we have to be careful what we put into our bodies, what we're eating. We definitely have to do that. We know that. We know that we have a clear connection of our intake to what our results are. And so, getting blood work. In fact, I got blood work about 3 weeks ago, somewhere in there. And so that was a monitor for me because I hadn't had blood work about 2 years, which was really a lot. So a lot of time had passed. So I went and did, the Sonora Quest, went in. I did not need a doctor's note, okay, or release or anything. I just paid $79 and went, got urinalysis, CBC with differential, and my thyroid, just pretty much everything, at one level was definitely checked. So that gave me an idea of where I am. So my cholesterol was a little elevated, and so I have started with some supplements, exercising a little bit more deeply, and hard, a little bit hard, like every other day, where I was going probably 3 times a week. So we can control this. We can control what we put in our mouth. We can control how we feel. We can control, our supplements because we don't have a lot of necessarily good diet necessarily in our community. We have to find a way to bring it to us, even if you don't have a car. Public transportation is pretty big here. In fact, there's a bus stop directly across the street from me. In the pinch, I definitely have a vehicle and there's not a problem. But for those who do not, you have to go a little bit extra mile to get the produce. I mean, Sprouts is right literally down the street. I could theoretically walk probably a mile and a half. Okay. So I'm close to organic, I'm close to fresh, I'm close to good produce, etc. And vegan products, etc. So I don't want us to be lazy. I'm just leaving that a blanket. I'm not trying to be, in internally racially motivated any other way than just to say we have to take care of our health. We have to take care of our health. We have to take care of our health. And what we've done in the past, perhaps it's keeping you healthy. Or if we ever had any bumps in the road, like I have, I might disclose it at some point in my conversation. But clearly, all diets have some hiccups. All diets are not 100%. I really go to the Eat Right for Your Blood type, and I'm not going to plug that book, but that's the book that I, suggest um, as a reference because I'm an O positive, and that is a different type of diet, if you will, than a B or an A. I think the A is like 100% like vegan, raw, etc. But I have to have a little bit of meat, if you will. The amount is probably 5% of my diet is meat. When I say meat, tuna, um, wild salmon, and cod, whatever is wild, I will get that. And hormone free chicken. I'm not so much of a lamb person, even though that's on the list for me to eat. And the reason why I like this book, he definitely separated Africans to Europeans. And so that he wrote that book probably 20 years ago. And for that reason alone, that was really enlightening because a lot of people just lump everyone together. And that is not, a proper approach to any diet or any wellness care. So the fact that he took the time and did the research to identify markers that were not good for O positive Africans versus good for O positive Europeans. So this differentiation was great. And I have that book downstairs because I find it very, very useful and I refer back to it if I ever get to a point of concern or not clear on something. So, excuse me. So, with that said, I'm going to go into our topic. Our topic is going to be careful right now. I'm not going to say be cautious because caution has a different energy. Ooh, sorry about that. Caution. Let me turn this phone off. Okay. Okay. Caution, scared. I don't like those words, but cautious is probably a good word to use because we're at a point in the society that money is king and or queen. And I think there's a lot of things that may be done in the name of money, in the name of wealth, in the name of not people, not bodies. And so, unfortunately, we as a people, we are low on the totem pole societal realm. So when they see black and brown bodies, once in a while, that's not the case. I'm not saying it's an absolute, but we know disproportionately we have diabetes, we're overweight, the list goes on. So we really need to dial back our health and wellness. We have to get on top of that right now more so than any time in the whole history because the vaccine is a one size fits all. So I'm 5 feet 11. So they would give me the same inoculation of the vaccine as 5'1" white male. So there's no titer. So if I'm they're not checking blood work to see what levels, maybe I will only need 50% of strength. The next person may need 80% of strength. the next person would need maybe 5%. So it's a guessing game. So with that said, by being a guessing game, like, share, subscribe. Sorry, share, subscribe to my channel, The Melanin Report 360, The Melanin Report 360, The Melanin Report 360. So thank you, thank you. Came right into my head, like, ooh. But it's a one size fits all, and we know that what's good for one group may not be as good in another group, or the strength. So I'm getting the same vaccine as the next person. 5'11", 180 so pounds. See, I'm not diabetic. I'm not, the list. I can go down the list based on my numbers I just had at the end of the year. And this is tragic because we are going into these clinics, even some of them are not, they're like drive up. I never heard of anything. Drive up vaccine. So I don't know if they're doing any initial blood work, if they're doing any particular test before to make sure the titer, and that's like dilution factor, it may need to be tweaked because of the strength. It may not be, you may not have to have the same strength as the next person. It just depends on lifestyle, depends on the immune system. I mean, there's so many factors. And so I was saddened to hear, not only by Hank Aaron, and that's another story, another time, but this young lady who was just a year older than me, but she may just be the same age. She may have just turned 58 this year. But she was a mother. She had children, grandchildren, et cetera, et cetera. And she was obese. She was obese. She was obese. So that was a huge factor. I mean, when I say obese, she looked like 100 pounds overweight at look, but it may not be as much, but I will just say within 60 to 100 pounds overweight. So she was given, I don't know which vaccine. She was given one of the vaccines. There's only two. So it's Moderna and Pfizer, I think. And they observe people 15 minutes or so, which is not a long time, because that doesn't seem like that's a long time to do anything, But she was observed 15 minutes, and so I don't know if a daughter, a child, or her adult child was driving her home or whatever, or they took the van. I don't know all those details, those little details. But apparently, she said something's not right, and that was a quote from her daughter. She said something's not right, and she started throwing up. And within 2 hours, she had passed. I know this isn't the story of everyone. I know a lot of people have had success with the vaccine, no side effects. But if there's one person that has died, and the person is diabetic, they might have to be in a hospital setting to make sure for them to kind of observe for at least, let's just say, 24-hour period. So that woman started throwing up, probably trying to get the poison out. And I don't know the details, but she passed 2 hours after she had that vaccine. So it is one death, it's one too many, you know, because we go in just thinking, oh, this is really in our best interest. They're driving the point home. It may be for some, who may have a compromised immune system. They may be under doctor's care. They may go into the doctor's office to get the shot and then perhaps follow up within 24 hours to make sure it's okay. Those circumstances are not so blaring in your face because there's monitoring. It's not herd kind of drive up vaccine, you know. And that's what I think we're doing. This country is doing. This country is definitely doing the drive up vaccine with 12 or 15-minute observation, and then you go home. And just want to, say be cautious. Make sure you read all the fine print because we know that some people have not survived past the first inoculation. I believe Hank Aaron, I believe, allegedly went to Morehouse School of Medicine. I used to work there, in fact, in Atlanta, and he took the shot, the vaccine, and 2 weeks later, I want to say, he died in his sleep. 2 weeks later. He was the same age as my mother. My mother's still driving and carrying on, So she's 86. He was definitely 86. He was born in 1934. So he was a legend. It was very sad to hear that. Very sad. Yes, we have to do our due diligence. If you are overweight, if you need to be in a wellness plan, please contact me. My services are very, very minimal to get to a healthy place. And I have never been on. Let me restate. I have always taken relatively good care of myself, and there's been things that have come on my path, you know, and I know that you can get on the other side of it when you take control of your wellness, and health. So it's not the weight is not going to come off overnight. It's going to take a while, typically 6 months to a year, depends on the weight. And you don't want to crash diet. You just don't want to do all those, fad things that will get you in trouble. But there's certain programs that are pretty good, and find one that feels right. Especially my father used to say, just push away from the table. That was in his mind. Why are people, overweight? Just push away from the table. You're getting up in weight. Um, you definitely want to push away from the table. My father had a sense of humor. Um, yeah, we have to be really cautious, careful, read the fine print, make sure you know what you're signing up for, and make sure you do your research. You read if you elect to do the vaccine, that you do your part to study, to research. I don't know how long it's been out. It was rushed to get it out. I know that because of the panic, the COVID-19, took the country by storm and still is. And so not necessarily saying don't, but be cautious. Look both ways. Make sure you and your family you make a very very good decision. Especially your young people, your older people. My mother said she's not taking it. Okay, um, she's not taking it, and she's only had one surgery. That was her OBGYN surgery when they were taking, they were doing his performing hysterectomy, performing hysterectomies wholesale back in the 70s and 80s, and that was her route. I think I was 12 or 13, and so I think she's only had one surgery. She's been only under the knife one time. So she's relatively been healthy, at her age, and she eats from the rooty to the tooty. She eats her pork, she eats her chitlins once or twice a year. Um, I don't, but that's her thing. But she's still driving. She lives in a small community, and so we're blessed. My brother and I are blessed because she's relatively taking care of herself, and so we're grateful for that. But a lot of people do not have that luxury of having older parents living alone, or having someone come in once or twice a week, or that kind of thing. But even people in my age group, my brother's age group, 40s, 50s, 60s, my play brothers in his 40s, um, my I've got some other um, brothers from another mother. They are a little bit older even than my brother. But we have to really be careful, because not only the Tuskegee, that's where like, well, why are African Americans so concerned or cautious, that kind of thing. Like, there's a history. There is a history. And the Tuskegee study lasted from 1932 to 1972. So that was a big chunk of time. That was 40 years. That was a long time. That was a long time. So, and there've been other things, obviously. So we are a little cautious, but the flip side, we have to take care of our health. We have to take care of our wellness. We have to, if you just walk. I walked yesterday. I didn't go to LA Fitness. I just walked. There's a park not too far from me. And so I walked down to the park, and that was probably about a half a mile. And I walked twice around the park, and I came back. And so that was like 2 miles, you know. It was a beautiful day, sunshine, blue skies, as it is always here. And so, there's no reason for me not to have some form of exercise, even if it's walking. Even even I go to LA Fitness, obviously, but I'll go tomorrow. But it was such a beautiful day. I was like, why am I just staying in the house? I'm just gonna get out. Had I listened to Neville Goddard, and that was a good. He was talking about anyway. But that's what I choose to be healthy in this lifetime. I choose to exercise. I choose to eat right. There's a formula. You just don't live and, I dream a genie thing, boom, and it's done. You have to do the work. You have to do the work. And when you do the work, it's going to pay off. It's definitely going to pay off. And so I want us to be mindful of the work that we need to do. If you need to contact me, please do. Please do. 602 775 That's my direct number to my office. So definitely look at what you're doing. If you need consultation, I am, I'm, reasonable rates. You go under one of my programs, reasonable rate, and I just want people to see the results. That is, I need to keep the lights on, but that is the benefit of my work. Saying we look at the blood type, we look at some other factors. If you get blood work, that's going to be a review. And then we can come up with a formula that suits you. Because not if one and done, that's not how life is. Because even they have a little bit of a tweak in the two humans. So people are just doing a one inoculation across the board. So if I got the vaccine here, it's going to be the same vaccine in New York, same vaccine in California. So we're so different and so vastly different. Not only gender, not only race, not only ethnicity, height, weight. I mean, just be careful, be cautious, think about it, ponder it, have a family meeting, because this is something that can affect you long term. We don't know, because it's been out, what, a year? I don't even know if it's been out a year. I have to research that. Has it been out a year and a half? No, it's not a year. No, I'm thinking it's like 6 to 8 months. So this was very, very critical for me to read because the young lady was in my age group. And I think wherever she was working, they made it available to her because of her condition. But that was going to be more of the reason to do those checks, recheck, to make sure. And to find out statistically, is this a good number for this particular vaccine, or should I go with the other one? We just have to get a little bit more savvy in our language and what we know to be true. So I'm not a nurse. Perhaps you're not a nurse, but we have to take over our health and wellness right now. Right now. So if you're drinking excessively, what can you do to stop drinking? If you're using drugs, if you're smoking weed, weed is a drug. If you are whatever, I don't want to go down the list, but if you are doing anything in that realm, you have to take all that, because if you're smoking cigarettes, and the lungs are engaged, and we have to look at all of that, because if you're smoking, your lungs might already be fragile. So be aware of that too. I think the young lady, the 58-year-old, she knew fundamentally, she said something is wrong. She said that. I don't know if it was her daughter or grand. I don't know all the details, but she said something is wrong. And 2 hours later, she was gone. So let us learn from these horrific examples. So we don't want to take anything for granted, especially our health. And there's a reason why we are apprehensive at best. We just want to be, mindful of what we're doing. Okay. So with that said, I'm going to end this video this evening. just keep all that in mind. If you need to contact me, I left the number earlier. And I look forward to hearing and getting your feedback and to offer my services. Very low rates right now to get you on the path of wellness because we don't need another death in our community. We do not. We have police brutality. We have black on black crime. We have fill in the blank. So enough is enough. We want to live. We want to live. So thank you for listening. I will be back tomorrow around 7 p.m. And I hope you all stay safe in this pandemic era we're in. I don't know if it's going anywhere anytime soon. It may, but it's taken what, half a million lives? Is that right? So we've got a lot of work to do in our community, and it starts with each and every one of us. We have to do our part to stay healthy. Um, Stay out of these clubs. I saw the Tampa Bay one, and they showed the bars were crowded and this and that, and half of the people were masked. Half of them didn't have masks. So you know that's going to be a large, probably outbreak in 2 or 3 weeks. So be smart. Just, you have a good mind, your healthy mind, use it. Just sit, discern, is this something I should do? Should I go out to the club tonight without a mask? You know? But anyway, we have to raise the vibration of what's going on. And by doing that, we're going to make sure we are looking both ways as we do to cross before we cross the street. So, with that said, have a wonderful, beautiful night. Stay safe. We'll be back on tomorrow, Tuesday, and see you soon. Thanks for listening. Peace. Like, share, subscribe, follow.